Well, you know what they say. If it ain't broke, try and mess with it every way you possibly can. Welcome everybody to JG9 News, where we talk all things NFL all the time. I'm Jaguar Gamer 9, representing the 904 from the 602, and today we are talking about the way that a lot of you might start your day. You turn on NFL Network and you watch some Good Morning Football. You watch one of the best shows on TV to learn about the NFL and to enjoy the chemistry between the four guys. Well, that is going to be changing awfully soon, because after March 29th, Good Morning Football is moving to Los Angeles. They're going to go on hiatus for a bit, and they'll pick up sometime in the summer, probably around July. And don't just take my word for it. Take what Kyle Brandt had to say on today's show of Good Morning Football.
The news is that Good Morning Football is moving. Before the 2024 season, around training camp, Good Morning Football goes west, like Fievel, going to California several months from now. But contrary to some oddly worded tweets and ensuing confusion, Good Morning Football is not ending. Good Morning Football, the show, the brand, is going to continue for a very long time. It's expanding. More, bigger, brighter. You don't end things that just passed 1,800 episodes. You don't end things that have a trophy on the shelf that literally says best show. And you don't end things that elicit the kind of reactions that were coming out yesterday when people were a little confused and tweeting things like, "You're the only thing that gets me through my mornings," and "How am I supposed to start my day?" You start it with us. You're going to have to wait a little while. It's going to be a little bit different. And then it's going to be right back to lead block. Got it? Thank you. Love you.
All right. Now, one of the problems with this is that they found out via tweet. According to all sources, they found it via tweet from Austin Karp, who is the managing editor for the Sports Business Journal. They found out via this tweet that he put out that they are going to be moving to California. So already the communication's not the best. What's bizarre about this is that Good Morning Football just had its most viewed season since 2017. The ratings are up 16%. And yet they're moving from New York to Los Angeles. Now, obviously, we know the reason why. It's cost-cutting. They could spin it any way they want. It's a cost-cutting measure. NFL sound stages in Los Angeles, where a lot of their production's done, a lot of NFL Network stuff is done in LA. You don't have to pay rent there versus paying for rent in New York City. So it makes sense from that perspective, but still, why would you mess with a winning formula? Never mind the fact that the show is going to start at 5 a.m. local time, meaning that you'll have to be at the studio by 3:30 in the morning. Will you be able to get all that talent to come over to do that? I mean, that's a huge adjustment for your work schedule. The energy was off a lot when they had NFL AM based in California, the show that preceded Good Morning Football, which was not very good. The energy was all off because it's tough to get people to be energized at 5 a.m. local time when they're just starting their days. It's a lot easier when it's on a normal work schedule like it is in New York. But in Los Angeles, it's going to be very different, especially because it's going to be airing at the same time because it's Good Morning Football. But here's the thing. The show is going to go dark for the next 4 months and is relaunching next summer. Why would you not relaunch it after the NFL draft? If you want to take a hiatus in May and June, that makes sense. But the NFL draft, that is, for a lot of people, the best time to watch the show. Because ESPN, a lot of the other sports networks, they're not just talking about the NFL draft. And if they are talking about the draft, they're talking about the top prospects, the guys you all know. NFL Network, they can go in deep. They have interesting retrospectives. They have interesting segments and whatnot with Good Morning Football. For my money, the best time to watch Good Morning Football all season is during the NFL draft, because it is pretty much exclusively NFL draft stuff. And ESPN, yeah, it's some draft stuff, but it's pretty basic. And it's sprinkled in with NBA coverage and MLB coverage and March Madness and all of that. So it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to stop it in March 29th. I know the rent is probably up, but it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to just outright stop it and then relaunch it in July in all likelihood. On top of that, that's a long time to be off. That is a long time to be off. And Good Morning Football is a part of a lot of people's lives and a lot of people's routines. And here's what I know about routines. Routines are habits. And if you're gone for a while, people will move on to something else. People are going to move on to something else. This is not like a regular TV show where it airs every Wednesday at, let's say, 8 o'clock Eastern. It airs 22 times a year, 11 in the fall, 11 in the spring. It's not like that. This is a show that's part of people's morning routine. People are just going to change their morning routine, and they might not come back. They might not come back. It's the same reason why the ratings for a lot of sports were down after COVID. Sports got canceled during that time. But you know what happened? People learned to adjust, and they changed their routine, and they realized, wait a sec, I might not need this. This might not be a part of my routine. I found a new routine. The NFL wasn't impacted by this because NFL's always been a fall sport and they miss no games. But NBA, NHL, MLB, like if you are a baseball fan, you watch baseball every single day. COVID canceled that, and then you had to figure out something else to do during that time, and then you were like, wait a sec, maybe I don't need to watch baseball every single day. And the ratings have not really recovered from that. Think of this, Good Morning Football, like Wordle, or a New York Times crossword, or one of those daily games. If they just went on hiatus for a bit, and then they came back, people have moved on to something else. People have moved on to something else. People are going to move on to other football programming through YouTube, or through other things. They might move on to ESPN shows. They might watch Get Up. They might watch First Take. They might watch First Things First on FS1. They might watch other programming because they have to fill the void because they're not going to watch NFL Network during this time. And I'll be like, wait a sec, I really like this show. I'm not going back to Good Morning Football when it relaunches. On top of that, are people going to uproot their lives to go from New York to LA? This is a big move. It's a big move, especially with the time difference. Kyle Brandt does a lot of stuff with the NFL Today on CBS. That takes place in New York. Now, granted, I know a lot of Kyle Brandt's segments are pre-taped, but what happens to him? Jamie Erdahl, she has to uproot her family to move to LA. She just had a baby. Does she want to do that? Jason McCourty works for the NFL on CBS, which is based out of New York. What happens to him? Is he going to make the move? I don't know. The show could look drastically different. And again, in terms of the routine, people are going to change their routines, and I'm not sure how many people are coming back. It's almost like me. I like posting a video every day at 9 a.m. Eastern. Now, obviously, there are some exceptions if I can't get a video out because I either crash or I just feel sick or something like that. But for the most part, I do it at 9 a.m. Eastern every single day. And there's a reason for that, because I want to be a part of people's routines where every day you wake up and you watch my video. I know a lot of people that do that. I'm so grateful for that. If I just stopped posting for 2 months at 9 a.m. Eastern and then I came back, people have moved on to something else. People will watch other stuff and they might not come back. And you're worried that this could happen with Good Morning Football. Why would you mess with a formula like this? The ratings are up 16% from last year. It's the most viewed season you had in a long, long time. You've got the chemistry down. You've got a winning formula. And now you're going to change it just to save some money in the short term, but it could impact you very drastically in the long term. We're seeing a lot of these companies try to make short-term budget costs, and it ends up impacting them in the long term. Again, I'm not saying that moving to LA is necessarily the worst thing. Granted, the 5 a.m. local time is going to be terrible. The 5 a.m. local time is going to be terrible energy-wise. I'm not sure who you're getting. It's more of why are they going on hiatus for that long? Why would you go on a hiatus for that long? The NFL makes a boatload of money as it is. Just extend the rent in New York for a bit. Extend the rent for another, whatever the shortest lease you possibly can is. Build a Good Morning Football studio in LA, and they can make that seamless transition, no problem, during a dead period in the NFL when nothing's happening, sometime in late June, early July. Not now. Not right before the NFL draft. That just doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. I think this is a short-sighted move that is going to backfire tremendously on NFL Network and the NFL. I hope this isn't the end for Good Morning Football, but this show is going to look very different in 4 months' time. And I'll be very interested to see what happens because it doesn't look good. Based on the press release, based on everything that's been talked about, based on how this was communicated, I am not hopeful for the future of Good Morning Football. But what are your thoughts on the move of Good Morning Football from New York to Los Angeles? Do you like the move? Do you not like the move? Do you think they're making a mistake taking 4 months off? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. And that's going to do it for this episode of JG9 News. Be sure you like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot. And be sure to check out my main channel, JaguarGator9, where we talk all things NFL history all the time. Until next time, this is JaguarGator9 signing off. And as always, go Jags.